Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And while I normally do not do this program by myself, today will be no different. My guest host, Mr. Piwowarski, is on his way. But till then, we are going to begin the celebration that is otherwise known as Throat Punch Thursday.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Who's ready?
It's Throw Punch Thursday, bitch.
I love that one every single time. Every single time I enjoy watching dude get hit in the throat. I don't know why. I guess that's how YouTube made it so big. I mean, I used to always say when I was doing a coffee with Craig, it was the funniest thing because people used to say, "Oh, wow, you're famous." And I'd say, "No, I'm not famous. I'm YouTube famous." They're like, "Well, what's the difference?" I said, "Well, if you get punched in the throat or kicked in the nuts, you can get 1 million views. So YouTube famous is a little different." And even then, I don't know if I'm YouTube famous. I was YouTube famous, more YouTube infamous. But anyway, we always have a good time. Anyway, very much appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, Mike is on his way. Last I heard, he was 2 minutes out, but we know Mike's 2 minutes, right? They're a little bit kind of expanded. He's a little bit on that military time, so we're not going to hold him to it. But he is going to be here for the discussion today, and I hope you're here for the discussion today as well. Please remember, if you're watching this show right now, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on Rumble, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, or otherwise known as X. Go ahead and comment, because we have the ability to get your comments in here and comment on whatever you have to say. So we'd love to hear what you folks have to say about the program, about what's going on, about the stuff that we're talking about. We'd love to hear from you and talk to you. And those of you who are listening or watching, listening at a later time or listening to the podcast, we would love to have you comment and input as well. So once again, go ahead and feel free to comment. Let us know what you think about what we've got going on. Before we get into this, it looks like we've got Mr. Piwowarski here, but I gotta set him up here and get him into the program, and that takes just a bit of work here. There we go. There's Mr. Piwowarski. I hope he can hear us, because I'm about to put him on the spot. Mr. Piwowarski, how are we doing today, my friend?
Doing great, Mr. DeLuz. How are things in the world of fruits and nuts?
Oh, well, one of the stories that we have today will let you know that there appear to be a few less nuts in the state of California, which I guess is a good thing.
They just decided to get rid of them to denut themselves.
I don't know if they left. I don't know if they just disappeared. I don't know if they, maybe found their sanity. I am just not sure. I just know that there appear to be some common sense things happening in the very, very weird places here in California. Places you don't expect common sense to be that common.
Interesting. People looked around in weird and unusual places and realized there were less nuts. Got it.
There you go. Just less nuts. Don't know if they got castrated or what, but less nuts.
Oh, ow.
Mine is not to wonder why. Mine is just to laugh.
All
right, sir. Well, since you are here, why don't you do us a favor and go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors?
Yeah, let's say hi to our good friends at Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Make sure you look them up. Get those AR rifle and pistol barrels that you need for your next AR build or rebarrel your current AR platform. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you could take part in California's future today. If you want the best in concealed tactical holsters on the market, get on over to Hog Holsters. That's HAWG holsters.com, hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. It's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount. And if you want the best in tactical gear on the market, web gear, outdoor gear, hunting gear, fishing gear, whatever it may be. You can get everything you want except the gun at uscombatgear.com.
Folks, these are great Americans. These are not just good organizations. They're not just good companies. They don't just provide a quality product. They are Americans. They are people who put their time, their energy, their effort, their money where their mouth is when it comes to supporting America. So support them as they support us, as we all support America, by visiting their websites. All you got to do is follow the links in the description of this video. It'll take you to their websites. Check them out. I promise you will like what you see. Make sure you spend some money with them. And when you do, you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. All right, we're going to dig right into today's stories because today's, well, it's kind of interesting. So I don't know if any of you watch any other programs. I don't know why you would, but in case you do, there is a gentleman named Steven Crowder. He's a comedian. He hosts a show called Louder with Crowder. Anyway, as a part of their shtick, they actually have what they call Mud Club, and they call it Mud Club Undercover. And what they do is it's kind of along the lines of what Project Veritas has done, and that's where they cover stories, but sometimes they go undercover, and they basically get people to say the quiet stuff out loud, the stuff that nobody else will will admit to. They get them to talk about it. And in this particular case, the lead spokesman for the Southern District of Manhattan, New York, or U.S. Attorney General's office, U.S. Attorney's office, was caught on having a discussion with somebody and talking about and sharing kind of his perspectives on the Donald Trump case, in particular, the one relating to, or the one filed by Alvin Bragg. His name is Nicholas Biasi. Now, I want to be clear here, and Steven Crowder made a point to say this, and I want to say this. This guy is not the bad guy, all right? He's not the one that we should take issue with, but his folks are. So let's check it out real quick.
Actual felonies? Because I was pretty sure that...
He was stacking charges and rearranging things just to make it fit a case. No, to be honest with you, I think the case is nonsense. Every real estate person in New York does what he did. Nobody's ever been charged with this. Alvin's very ambitious.
What do you mean?
He wants to be, something. I don't know what. Mayor. I'm not sure what he wants to be, but I know he's not happy just being the DA of New York County.
All right, so for those of you who are just getting some of the music there in certain parts, there was text over the video, and basically what they're pointing out is this guy, he worked with Alvin Bragg for 10 years, right? He's known him for 15 years. And basically what he's saying is that this whole case they basically manufactured a case, which, by the way, is something we already knew. They charged him with something that no one's ever been charged with, that people do all the time, and they took what were misdemeanors, turned them into felonies, and it was all for the purpose of lawfare, which is basically warfare, going after you, utilizing the law to attack a political enemy. And I think what makes this stand out so much is this guy is an insider, right? And he is admitting that, this is the guy who's on the inside, and even he knows this is a bunch of BS.
Yeah, again, further proof of what we know and we discuss every day, Craig, that this is politically motivated, that they're using the justice system, the legal system, anything that they can to try and keep this, guy who loves his country and loves Americans from being president again. They And every time you see this, Craig, I think it just goes more towards, did they cheat last time? Well, listen, they're willing to do anything. They say we didn't have enough evidence then, but all that they continue to do now, I think, just adds to the proof of what they did, 3.5 years ago.
Well, I think there's no. Well, let me clarify. And I think there's no doubt that they cheated. I think the proof in terms of the election machines, I think still needs to be. There needs to be more there, but we know for a fact that the Justice Department put their thumb on the scale by hiding stories, by going after, by not reporting the Hunter Biden laptop. We know for a fact that they censored people who said things that were not consistent with what the administration said. We know they pushed them to get him off of Twitter, to get him off of Facebook. We know that the mainstream media was not reporting the truth. We know all that, so we know they cheated. And I think just some of us disagree on where they cheated or how they cheated. But even then, even those things, I think we all agree on.
And that's where I lose you, Craig, because you'll sit here and say that the Justice Department and District Attorney's Office are continuing to help them cheat, and here's proof of what they did. But not back then. No, that was different. They didn't help them cheat with that thing, just everything else since.
No, I'm just saying I need to see evidence, and I haven't seen evidence. I mean, I've seen information that people say, well, this leads to this. It's not evident. If it doesn't equate to evidence,
it's a pattern of action.
Well,
no matter what they do, and this is how
just because someone is guilty of stealing doesn't mean they're guilty of murder.
This is all theft, okay? And it's all levels of theft, all right? Nobody's accused anybody of murder except the Clintons, all right? We're talking about all levels of theft here. The level of stealing an election, stealing his freedom, stealing his money, stealing his livelihood. This is what they're doing. This is small terrorist unit tactics. It's done decentralized. They're all given instructions to go out and do whatever they can to cause mayhem to this man, including continuing the pattern against him of stealing everything from him, including the election. And why you need to see one more piece of evidence about a voting machine when you've had this guy now telling you he's been lying for 3.5 years.
And I don't understand why recognizing that they stole the election in the ways that I've recognized that they've stole the election isn't enough. If that in and of itself to me is enough.
All right,
I'm sorry. That's enough. That is enough for me. I don't need to see whether or not, let me clarify. I need to see the evidence to say they affected the voting machines.
See, there we are.
Do I believe it's beyond them? I don't believe that it is morally or ethically beyond them. I just believe that their capability of being able to do that is a little beyond them. Anyway,
that's that little bit
we don't have to agree on that. What we can agree on is this is lawfare. This is attacking an individual because you're right. They have not just gone after him in terms of the election. They're trying to steal his freedom. You have the case where they say he overstated the value of his properties. They're trying to steal his money, trying to take basically $500 million from him, right? So once again, I don't disagree on any of that. And I think all of that is enough to be outraged about and recognize that the Justice Department is out of control and needs to be reined in. Who better to do that than Donald Trump?
The Justice Department that said there was no evidence of fraud in the voting machines. Got it. Same ones. Okay.
Well, once again, I'm just looking at the evidence. I'm not listening to the Justice Department saying there's no evidence. I'm looking at the evidence that's been presented, and I don't see evidence. I mean, you've already got multiple. So far, nobody who's gone to court over the election machine thing, all of them have admitted, yeah, we were wrong. Yeah, we didn't really have the goods. They've all said it. And I'm like, at no point did anybody present the goods. Everybody in media was asking for it. Nobody produced it on the voting machines.
No, not correct. It was presented, and the Department of Justice and the state's attorney's office said they did not think it was sufficient evidence because they made a call based on their anti-Trump beliefs, not based on the evidence.
Okay. I've seen the evidence that's been presented to the public. Now, if there's other evidence, I'd like to see it. I've looked at the evidence presented to the public, and in my, once again, I don't see it. I don't see anybody who supports Donald Trump now saying, yeah, that was sufficient enough evidence. Nobody, at least nobody who I would consider a legal expert in that area.
I think we got to.
I don't understand why we have to argue over this.
Prescription on your glasses might have run out if you didn't see it.
Well, I think that, I won't get into it. I'll just put it this way. I've always called them as I've seen them. When I believe that Trump is right, I've said he's right. When I believe he's wrong, I've said he's wrong. And I've always been open to evidence that I could be wrong. And I've admitted to you when I've seen enough evidence to admit that I'm wrong. So far, I ain't seen nothing. If you got it, send it to me. I'll review it over the weekend, and then we'll have a conversation. Who knows? Maybe I'll be here on Monday apologizing and saying, you know what? Mike was right.
Now you get Zuckerberg saying what he did. Now you get Biasi here telling you what's going on.
Once again, I'm not denying any of that. I'm not denying it. The only thing that I'm talking about are the voting machines. That's it.
Greg, if 10 cars were stolen and you got the fingerprints on 9 of them that this guy did it, guess what? He did the 10th. Okay.
If 10 cars were stolen, does that mean that the guy is guilty of rape?
We're not talking about rape. We're talking about theft.
We're talking about different things.
Theft.
Okay.
Theft,
did he rape the woman in the car? Then how about that one?
Who's talking about
all
rape
I'm saying
in the car?
is that the vote, once again, there are certain things, and once again, I don't understand why we have to argue over this, because the voting machines at this point are in my opinion, irrelevant to the fact that all of these other things they did.
It's a pattern of theft, is what it is.
I'm sorry, Mike. We'll just close this particular subject on this. You are more than welcome to send me whatever links and information you have that have proven to you that they tampered with the machines. I would love to see it. I would love to review it and make a decision so that I can be as informed, or at least make as an informed a decision as Mr. Piwowarski.
Okay, again, you're standing at the water and you won't drink it. I don't know what to tell you. There's no more evidence.
I'm telling you, send it to me. If you got it, send it to me.
I continue to send it. You continue to say no.
You've never sent anything. Mike. Now you're making things up, Mike. Now you're making things up. Come on now, Mike. You're an honest guy now, but now you're making things up. You are more than welcome to send. You know what? Tell you what. If you send it to me, I apologize. Could you do me a favor and send it again? I really want to take a look at it.
No, I won't. What was today's stories about?
Today's story. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about voting machines. Do you have information on voting machines?
Yes,
if you have it, please send it. I'm more than open, dude. Send it. I'm down.
Go through your inbox and search my name.
Down.
And you'll see where I.
Y'all have heard now. The gauntlet has been laid. I have made it clear.
Yes.
I'm down.
And I'll say
to send me the info on the voting machines, and we can have a conversation about it.
And I'll say I'm not. I'll say the same thing to you I say to everybody else. I'm not your historical research department. Go back to your email, search for your name, and look at the document.
Then you have not sufficiently enough made your case. I am not obligated to verify your delusions. There you go. Moving right along.
It feels like I'm talking to California for sure now.
Okay, FBI raids the homes of New York Mayor Adams' 2 top aides, which is now this is kind of interesting because we just saw in New York, in the New York governor's office, we just saw that there was a unsealed indictment against one of her top aides who turned out to be a spy for China, and now we've got the mayor of New York City, get a rope. Mayor of New York City had the homes of his 2 top aides raided. Let's find out why. This being reported by Breitbart News. The FBI raided the homes of two of the top members of New York City Mayor Eric Adams's administration on Wednesday morning, Politico revealed. Several sources told the outlet that NYC First Deputy Mayor Sheena Wright's Manhattan townhome and Deputy Mayor for Public Safety Philip Banks' Queens single-family residence were both searched as a part of an investigation into Adams's 2021 campaign. The mayor himself was served a grand jury subpoena in July after law enforcement seized his electronic devices in November 2023 over allegations that he colluded with foreign governments, including the government of Turkey, Politico reported. Banks and Wright are not only connected through their mutual boss, the city's school chancellor, David Banks, is the public safety official's brother, as well as the first deputy mayor's romantic partner. According to sources who spoke to the publication, the homes were hit simultaneously around 5 a.m. When asked about the raid, David Banks told the outlet, "Today is the first day of school, and I'm thrilled." The source also told the outlet that both officials' electronic devices were seized. Banks and Wright are not the only two from Adams' inner circle to have the feds raid their homes. The residences of the mayor's most senior campaign fundraiser, Brianna Suggs, and international affairs aide Rana Abbasova also were raided in November, Politico reported. Now, Mike, forgive me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't recall this many homes being raided by Democrats. I mean, by this many homes being raided of Republicans in various different elective offices, at least not recently. How about you?
Well, not unless they were involved with President Trump, right? Then they went after them. Like Rudy
well, there
Giuliani.
You go. Yeah, being involved with President Trump automatically does make you guilty.
Yeah. This little bit of proof there that, like you just saw in the last video we looked at, that there's certain people in the Department of Justice that are tired of the nonsense and letting the word get out. That's what's going on with Mayor Adams' staff. They got on board what was probably perceived as the norm with the level of collusion and shenanigans that were going on during the last election. Craig, if you're running for city office and they're doing it at the state office and they're doing it at the federal offices, it must be okay. Well, now it's kind of backfiring against Mayor Adams. And I feel bad for him because he put people in there that he trusted, and those people colluded with people at higher level offices that were breaking the law, and they got tied up in it. But you know what? It doesn't matter if it's this week or next week. You pay the piper.
And, I think what it also points out is like a lot of the stuff that's happening at the city level or at the county level or even at the state level. One of the things the guy from the U.S. Attorney's Office pointed out was, they don't, even though you have politicos who serve there, they're like, okay, we got a 90-day rule, so we don't do anything that might 90 days out from an election. So anything that might affect an election 90 days out, they don't do. And even though they know there are politicos there, there's just certain things you don't do. And that's the reason why Alvin Bragg left the U.S. Attorney General's office, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and went to be a DA so that he could do stuff like this. That's why you have someone like the Attorney General for New York going after both the NRA and Donald Trump. Once again, separate and apart from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Now, in the U.S. Attorney's Office, even there, though, you do have some folks like Jack Smith, who, once again, is going out of his way to try and go after Donald Trump by reintroducing charges. But anyway, these are the sorts of things. And what's interesting about this goes to show that there are people in the Justice Department, like you were saying, who are interested in enforcing the law, regardless of party. At least here, you're starting to see that some Democrats are starting to be held accountable. I'm real curious to see where these charges go.
Yeah, well, that'll all depend how it works on the second Tuesday in November, right?
Yeah, I do believe that in November, we will start to, as of November 5th, we will start to see some differences or some changes in terms of some of the stuff that is happening or going down. But, and by the way, this was a guy who was not, he was also not a favorite amongst liberals. Maybe he was in the Democratic Party, but he wasn't a favorite amongst liberals because remember, this is the guy who was was the law and order guy, the pro Second Amendment guy, or at least that's the way he campaign. Didn't turn out to be that way once he got in.
He has stood up and said that we can't take any more migrants. We can't take any more illegal immigrants. You're destroying New York City.
Yeah. He's probably more of an old school Democrat, not one of the progressive new school neo-Marxists.
Yes.
Still has his Democratic tendencies, though. Hey, we got Gilbert Glenn Jr. from over in from Knoxville, Tennessee. He wanted to make sure to give us a shout out. Gilbert, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. I see you on here all the time, man. Appreciate you as a faithful viewer.
Love my Tennessee.
Now, this is the thing, Mike, that I wanted to talk to you about that was kind of weird that's going on. So, in California, we have obviously we are a sanctuary state, right? Not only are we a sanctuary state, but San Francisco is a sanctuary city. And within San Francisco, they've started to do some interesting things, right? Like one of the things they started to do was actually deport migrants, illegal immigrants who were connected to the drug trade. And this is obviously because in California, we've seen a huge increase in fentanyl deaths. But this story right here, being reported over at the New York Post, it says Sanctuary City, San Francisco is deporting migrants, illegal immigrants, tied to drug busts after record-breaking fentanyl deaths report. San Francisco, long celebrated as a sanctuary city for immigrants, is now deporting migrants arrested in drug busts as it struggles to fight its fentanyl crisis, killing hundreds every year, according to a new report. Since last year, when fentanyl killed a record-breaking 656 people, more than 100 individuals have been charged as a part of a federal sweep in San Francisco aimed at illegal drug sales, with most of the felons identified as undocumented migrants or immigrants who get handed over to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Bloomberg reported. For the people who are willing to sell poison that is killing people, there is no protection for you. There is no sanctuary for you, Mayor London Breed told the outlet. I think, while I think many of us, Mike, will argue, should basically say, yeah, no, I'm sorry, if you're here illegally, you should be deported. Everyone has pretty much argued, look, at the very least, if people are committing crimes here, they definitely need to be turned over to immigration. I wonder why they weren't. Now, what I would have rather seen was these folks get arrested, go to jail. When their jail sentence is done, then have them get deported. But at least they're getting deported.
Yeah, let's be clear. And I've read this story, and you just read the parts of it that are pertinent there. This is not the city of San Francisco, California, deporting anybody. This is the federal government and law enforcement doing a sweep in San Francisco, California, and deporting people. Okay, this was a federal law enforcement sweep. They found those individuals involved in this fentanyl trade and said, "That's it. Put them on the bus on the ice and go back." And now, Craig, I'd much rather see them spend time in jail, but in a Mexican jail, because they're just wasting U.S. taxpayer money if they come over here, commit crimes, and go in our jails. But many of these people, I would bet, are connected to the crime, but not enough to face a charge. So rather than have them sit in a court and waste all the money, just put them back on the bus. They're illegal anyway.
And if I guess I'll put it this way: if they're coming from Mexico, I'd rather see them go to jail, only because we've seen stories of people being deported. Now, let me clarify: if you know they're going to be sent to Mexico and they're going to do jail time in Mexico, I'm all for it. But if they're just going to be sent back to Mexico so that they can cross the border again and come right back into the United States and do it again, I got a problem with that. So I think, one, it kind of depends on which one it's going to be. If we know they're going to do time, send them out. If they're going to far away countries where it's going to take a lot of resources for them to be able to get back here, then okay, maybe I'll even let that go. Maybe I don't need the verification that they're going to be doing time in jail. The one thing I will say, and you are 100% correct, these are feds who are coming in, but some of this takes coordination with local law enforcement. And up until this new DA that they have in San Francisco, they weren't allowing any sort of coordination. I will give some credit to the new DA that they have there. They got rid of the other guy, Chesa Bodine. The new district attorney there has been allowing, or at least to a degree, at least in these cases, them to be able to work, or allowing free reign with the feds to be able to do what they need to do in San Francisco.
Yeah. Let me be clear. Listen, my dark gray line for sending them back sits right on the crimes against people. Rape, robbery, murders, those kind of things. You're going to an American jail and you're going to get an American prison. These other ones that we know we can't prove here, they're not violent crimes. Send them back. Now, that also relies upon, once I send them back across the border, we have immigration controls in place that keep them on that side of the border. We know that's lacking now, but at a minimum, at least they're gone for a little bit. Then if you come back again, we'll play that game all over again, I guess, until we get this problem fixed in a couple of months.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I know that they've been pushing here in California, and we've yet to be successful to get it passed, was the whole, because what they're doing with fentanyl is, it's not like people are going and saying, hey, can a brother get some fentanyl? No, they're going to get other drugs, and those other drugs are laced with fentanyl. And so the fentanyl overdoses are coming, it's not like they are overdosing on fentanyl. They're being poisoned with fentanyl and dying. To me, that's a violent crime.
Yes. Yeah, well, it's a violent crime. It's just not a crime against a person, but yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So anyway, interesting stuff to see that happening in San Francisco. And some of this may have to do with the fact that a lot of these folks are going to be up for re-election in a couple of years. And they're realizing that everybody, especially in San Francisco, they recognize crime is out of control. And like Mayor Breed will not get reelected if things stay the way they are in San Francisco.
Right.
All right, moving right along. So, in the remaking or the reimagining of Kamala Harris, as she tries to be unburdened by what has been, she tries to be what can be, is unburdened by what has been. Part of what she's done is she's talked about how under the Biden-Harris administration, they have actually increased drilling. Right? They're saying, well, we've drilled more than they did under Trump, but the problem is that the data is just not showing that. And this is a report coming out of the Washington Free Beacon. It says Kamala Harris says she supported increased drilling as VP. Her administration's own data shows leasing is at record lows. Kamala Harris says she supported increased fossil fuel leases as vice president. Oil and gas leasing, however, has fallen to historic lows under the Biden-Harris administration, according to federal data. Harris told CNN's Dana Bash during her interview as Democratic presidential nominee. I cast the tie-breaking vote that actually increased leases for fracking as vice president. So I'm clear about where I stand. The federal government is required under federal statute to offer oil and gas leases through regular auctions. It doesn't offer fracking leases though. The leases it offers can use the method of hydraulic fracturing or fracking, a common method of drilling used to reach tight oil resources. Harris's comment is an apparent reference to when she voted in favor of the Inflation Reduction Act, that thing that doesn't reduce inflation, which included modest oil and gas provisions in August 2022, to break the Senate's 50-50 partisan deadlock on the legislation. Now, Mike, we know that she lied about this because, well, there's a reason why the good senator from West Virginia decided to leave the Democratic Party, Mr. Joe Manchin, and that was because they flat out lied. They said that they were going to do that. They said that they were going to promote fracking. They said they were going to expand leases, and they actually didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a trend. Every story we're doing it because it involves Harris and the Democrat Party. Just lies and lies and lies. I mean, how many times do we have to watch her do another one of her little rallies in front of a dozen or so people and continue to spout the lies? Today it's fracking. We're doing more fracking. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're just or you're assuming she's changing the rate of the fracking that they're doing. No, I don't. I didn't even know where to go with the lies, Craig. They just today it's like, well, let's see what they're going to lie about today. Let's see what today's topic.
Let's just be honest, Mike. Let's just be honest. She's a fracking liar.
She is a fracking liar. Yeah, she sure is. Yeah.
She's just a fracking liar, and we know this.
Yep.
But she's trying to reimagine herself, and like I said, what's very interesting about it is that when Trump does it, they call it flip-flopping. When she does it, they call it readjusting her position.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just pitiful.
Yeah, readjust this.
Yeah, exactly. Here.
All right, that brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. All right, we know that there is a debate coming up, and in preparation for that debate, Donald Trump is employing a new method, and this method comes to us as reported by the Babylon Bee, fake news that you can count on. It says here, Trump prepares for debate against Kamala by going to bar and arguing with drunks.
Craig, very funny on its face value, although I think that's giving Kamala much more credit than she deserves.
You think he's giving her more credit than she deserves? Okay. Well, by the way, speaking of fracking liars, let's talk about the vice president. We have a new incident of stolen valor that's being reported once again by the Babylon Bee. It says here, after motorcade involved in fender bender, Tim Walz adds Purple Heart to his resume.
Yeah, true. I also heard, Craig, that he would only be going to solid Democrat states because he refuses to go to battleground states.
That is true. That is true. But they're fighting, and by the way, and I know that we were disagreeing over different things relating to the election, but none of us disagree over the fact that Russian collusion was a hoax. Well, at least none of us except for Ms. Hillary Clinton. As reported by the Babylon Bee, grizzled veteran comes out of retirement for one last Russian collusion hoax.
She needs her last hurrah.
She does need her last hurrah. And she does look kind of grizzled there, doesn't she?
I'm trying not to look too hard at it.
All right, folks. Well, hey, that brings us to the end of the program. And before we go, we're going to do one last shout out to our sponsors.
Yep, Hitman Industries, Hitman Industries.net. Now you can get rifle and pistol caliber barrels in any length you desire for your next rifle or pistol build. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting that good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And you want the best field gear out there, custom gear, salt gear, web gear. Even if you want to go play paintball, you can get everything except a gun at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Please take a moment, follow the links in the description to this program, visit our sponsors, spend some money with them. Make sure you tell them it was the guys over at the Rundown that sent you. And with that, this program is a wrap. We will see y'all mañana on Free For All Friday, Feedback Friday, whatever you want to call it. All I know is, thank God it will be Friday.